That I'd like to bring to the show is on immigration. So recently, a lot has been going on regarding immigration. And not all is good. On the one hand, or progressive as far as creating a reform. On the one hand, recently, I believe it's about 2 weeks ago, a federal judge in the state of Alabama withheld the AB 56 policy or piece of legislation, which had been approved both by the House and the Senate, but a lot of social justice activists and a lot of people and immigration activists were trying to revoke that because they found it to be unconstitutional.
So what does it say so what does it say in
So basically what was passed with this bill is that now police have the right to question the immigration status of any individual that they find that they would think would be undocumented.
Yeah, I heard actually that this law is actually worse than the Arizona law that was trying to pass.
Yes, this is the harshest form of immigration policy thus far, and that's the main difference, which is that now police enforcement can actually act as immigration officers and question individuals regarding their immigration status, and ask them to identify themselves, provide a documentation to prove that they can legally be present in the country or in the state of Alabama. And it's really problematic because you think, well, there's racial profiling that goes hand in hand with assuming that one person over the other.
Yeah, and then the thing about that is that one thing leads to another. So first, they pass this law in order to have a reason to approach anybody that is of a darker color skin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in this country, a lot of the times what immigrant means is Latin. I mean, there is a lot of variation.
That's the idea.
That's the stereotype.
Yeah, that's the stereotype. That if you are an immigrant, you're automatically Latino. You're automatically Mexican. To be more
even more
specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so what they created by this, and I don't think it's on purpose. I wouldn't be surprised that it was on purpose. It's a free pass for the police to approach anybody that they see of a darker tone of skin, so they can, with that excuse, approach him, and maybe with that excuse also find other things that are going on. That they might any little type of violation that they might have, which is gonna create a higher rate of incarceration
and deportation.
But as a larger scale, incarceration of Latino folks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
Even if they're legal, how you said, it would give segue to be able to incarcerate more.
Exactly.
Latinos.
And of course, that's gonna. And I wouldn't be surprised if this law was financed by the owners and the people in power of private prisons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The people that make profit out of incarcerating people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that
it'd be cool. It'd be cool to look at the politicians who are pushing this forward, and if they have some contributions from corporations or that own these private prisons. Maybe that should be a little homework for next show.
Oh, my homework? My homework?
Well,
you thought about it.
You're the one that brought the.
Okay, we can definitely follow up and do some research and let our listeners know, our viewers.
To put you on the spot.
Also, as part of that legislation, children who, there's other components to it that are also very problematic and really make so that people, Latinos, are disenfranchised, or maybe not just Latinos, but immigrants. So another part is that anyone who is undocumented, any legally binding document like a contract, anything like that, is now null and void. So it doesn't exist, and therefore they can't create like business contracts. So if someone has their own business now, everything that has been written out as signatures, any type of legal document.
If you are undocumented, it basically it's not gonna be.
It's done. It has no power. So it's really.
It's a ripoff too economically, because
it is. There's a lot of people that have businesses and have literally, because they're afraid, have literally just left. They've left Alabama. They've left their businesses, left homes that have been paid in full. And business is definitely a way for upward mobility, regardless of legal status. So it's really a way to keep people, oppress them and keep them down, and not allow them to escalate. And
now a lot of people who are undocumented and who have been, living their lives as regular citizens to some extent in some ways, now the businesses or whatever that have contracts with them are not going to honor them. And that's
Exactly.
going to be some bullshit.
Exactly.
That's a political move. That's
It doesn't seem like very strategic, right? Especially with how the economy is now. If there is businesses that are stable and are bringing in revenue into the state, and you're dismantling them, so it doesn't seem like a smart economic move. And the last part of it, which is also a bit frightening, is that children that are that attend public schools in the state of Alabama must provide a birth certificate of the country to show their documentation, and the law does not discriminate as far as any children can go to school, but they have to provide documentation, and if they don't have it, they have to be tracked.
So let me check this out. So they don't want us to work, they don't want us to own business, and they don't want us to go to school.
Well, they say
and then you're gonna turn around and be like, "Oh, look at these immigrants! They're committing crimes. They're committing crimes and not working."
Yeah, it's
all of the Latinos in Alabama should go to Occupy Alabama. You got nothing to do, bro.
Yes.
What the fuck you want to do? Just go on protest.
And it's really sad because New York Times reported that the week after, after it was passed, on the first day of when the week started, 5% of Latino youth did not attend school. So children are missing school, and it just, I think of what happened. When I read that statistic, it made me really sad just to think of what happened in the home to make that decision. Obviously, parents are very fearful. This is a form of terrorism, to feel that your children can't go to school, that you can't go to work, that you can't, it's just so much fear, and to just leave your entire life and pick up, leave. It's really frightening what's taking place. And
I like that you put a little sad face
on my notes to express my emotions. But yeah, I thought it was very, very saddening. On the other hand, not every state is following in the footsteps of states like Arizona and Alabama. Other states they shouldn't, of course. A lot of other states are being a lot more progressive and a lot more inclusive in their immigration reforms or attempts to handle or deal with immigration. On the other hand, California just signed the second part of the DREAM Act bill. So our governor, Jerry Brown. Our governor Jerry Brown just passed the second half of it. And what that would entail, the first half allowed for undocumented students to be able to access privately funded form of aid, so scholarships that are privately funded. And now the second half, which is just reaching this goal, is great. That the fact that now youth can access publicly funded, so financial aid like Cal grants.
So this is happening where? Right here in California?
In California, yes. Yeah. And there's other states, including Rhode Island, and a few others that are working on creating similar legislation. Yes. This would not become effective, though. The first half, the 130, which would allow for privately funded forms of aid, that would not take place until 2012, and the publicly funded, like a Cal grant, would not take place until 2013.
Yeah, look, whether you agree or disagree, whether you want to deport everybody or you don't, and you don't like undocumented immigrants or no, at least we have to agree on something, that we need to, for the time that they're here, we need to educate them. Absolutely. I know in the meantime we don't know what to do with a lot of undocumented immigrants. We have different opinions on what to do with them, but I think in the meantime, where this issue is not being resolved, we need to educate them, because that's going to prevent a lot of us from, depend on other ways of making money. You know what I mean? That might not be illegal. Yeah. We can't deprive them from a lot of these opportunities, and they turn around and be like, "Hey, look at you, man! You're becoming a criminal." Like, that just makes no fucking sense. You know what I mean? So let's move forward with this, man. Let's just try to educate them and at least in that sense, you know what I mean? At least so that, hey, educated immigrants can go back to their country maybe and work over there. Not that I want them, but I'm just trying to make you understand.
Yeah.
Republicans.
Yeah, but thank you for that. I think that you make a great point. The issue is real. It's here. There's millions of undocumented people. There's thousands of undocumented students. And so you might as well, how you said, educate them, because it can turn into resorting to different forms of making a living or just getting by. And what better way to ensure that society as a whole and communities are progressing than through education?
And fuck Cat Williams. I wanted to come back earlier to talk about that shit. Fuck Cat Williams. Don't
Yeah,
fucking
fuck
buy
Cat
anything
Williams.
of Cat Williams. Fuck him.